On my graduation day, my family gifted my sister a trip to Italy. She's the only one who makes us proud, Mom wrote. I just smiled and hit withdraw. My name's Malcolm, I'm 30. The oldest kid. The quiet fixer. The one who always figures it out. For 5 years, I'd been selling things online, building a business that pulled in 6 figures a month. More money than anyone in my family even realized was possible. Then I did something that confused them even more. I went back to school. A management degree, night classes, case studies at 2 a.m. while I was still monitoring ad spend. I was the guy who showed up. When Mom's car started making a noise like a blender, I paid for a new alternator. When Dad's back went out, I covered physical therapy. And when my sister, Tessa, wanted a fancy new laptop for design school, the box arrived the next day, complete with a bow. My family, they called me practical. What they really meant was, he doesn't argue, he just fixes it. Graduation morning was bright, the air crisp. I ironed my robe like it was the most important garment I'd ever owned, set my phone face down, and watched steam rise off the kettle. My apartment is pretty minimalist, a desk, 2 monitors, a cheap plant I constantly forget to water. The robe looked a bit ridiculous draped over my chair, but I felt a deep, quiet pride. Not in the robe itself, but in finishing. In doing it the slow, hard way. At 9:10 a.m., out of pure habit, I thumbed open my phone and tapped Instagram. The first story at the top, Tessa, boarding a plane, big sunglasses, boarding passes fanned out like a deck of cards. The caption? Surprise Italy. Then, the second story, Mom's repost. And under it, her comment, she's the only one who makes us proud. It hit me like someone had wrapped their knuckles around my ribs and squeezed. Sharp. Precise. I replayed the story twice, 3 times, desperate to believe I'd misread it. I checked the comments, smiling emojis from cousins, as so deserved from my aunt. My thumb hovered over my keyboard. Asterisk don't type. Don't engage. Don't give them content. Asterisk a new text popped up. From Mom. In the family chat. Don't be dramatic today, Mal, focus on your ceremony. We can celebrate you some other time. Followed by a photo, suitcases stacked by their front door, Tessa hugging Dad, our dog in a CIO bandana. I just stared at the screen. I waited. For a congrats, Mal. For a we're proud of you too. But nothing. Just logistics. And that one sentence I couldn't scrub from my mind. She's the only one who makes us proud. My stomach did that slow, sickening roll it does when a plane drops suddenly in the air. I put the phone face down again. The robe on the chair looked heavier now. A ridiculous, burdensome thing. I boiled more water, just to have something to do. The kettle shrieked, an alarm I couldn't silence. My best friend, Jordan, buzzed the door. He walked in with a paper bag, a wide grin on his face. Breakfast hero, he announced. Eat. He clocked my face instantly. Who died? I just handed him my phone. He read the screen, and his mouth flattened. Wow, he said, looking up. You okay? I'm fine, I lied. The word tasted like metal. They're busy. It's a big surprise trip. A surprise trip, Jordan said slowly, scheduled on your graduation day. I shrugged. Tessa's always wanted to see Florence. You know the script. He didn't, not really, but he knew me. We'll be loud for you, he said. You're not alone today. I nodded, trying to regulate my breathing. The graduation cap sat on the table like some cruel joke. My phone buzzed again. Aunt Donna. Proud of our little star. Italy is once in a lifetime. Your time will come, Mal, my time will come. I chewed dry toast because Jordan told me to. The robe scraped against my neck. In the mirror, I looked like a decent impersonation of a graduate. I snapped one photo for the program portal, a tight smile, and sent it to my advisor. Then, out of reflex, I opened the family group chat. Blue bubbles stacked up. Mom organizing airport rides. Dad asking about euros versus cards. Tessa sending a duck face selfie, fingers in a peace sign. And under it all, from Mom. She's earned this. Another message. Malcolm, please don't start anything today. I shoved the phone into my robe pocket. The pockets were shallow, like everything else about that damn robe. The wall clock ticked loudly. Jordan watched me like people watch a door that might slam. I'm good, I said. Let's go. But something had shifted in me right then. It wasn't hot rage. It wasn't even surprise. It was a quiet click, like a latch setting into place. I didn't make a decision. I didn't plan some grand revenge. I just knew, with absolute certainty, that I was done standing where they'd put me and calling it love. On the way out, I forgot my tassel. Jordan ran back for it, laughing, the sound bouncing off the hall. I laughed too. It sounded normal. It sounded nothing like a man who had just read his mother's words and felt an old, long-held story rip apart at the seams. If you'd asked my family to describe me last year, they'd say, Malcolm makes money online. They'd say it like I was selling fake sunglasses out of a trunk. In reality, I'd built a stack, storefronts, logistics partners, a small team of contractors, automation layered on analytics, layered on timing. It wasn't glamorous. It was spreadsheets and testing, 1,000 tiny customer emails. But it worked. 6 figures a month, clean runs, taxes paid, rainy day funds, payroll met. I didn't grow up with money. That matters here. We grew up in a small house where the heater clanked and the roof whistled. Mom kept lists on the fridge, coupons, due dates, threats from utility companies. Dad worked 2 jobs and came home with his shoulders curled in like a comma. So when my stores started hitting, I felt obligated. Not because they asked, but because I remembered those lists. Because I remembered promising myself that future me would fix it. I'll handle the mortgage this quarter, I told Dad the first time. He protested, but only with the exact amount. That meant, don't stop. When Tessa enrolled in design school, financial aid didn't cover housing. I'll cover rent, I said. Just text me the link. She did. Every month, the payment auto-paid. Every holiday, she'd send me photos of coffee cups and the studio grind. The first year, I found it almost joyful. I could turn stress into receipts, problems into solved tickets. I wasn't naive. I kept my accounts clean, built walls around business funds, separated personal from everything. But I also funded a family emergency account at Mom's bank. My deposits only. My name on it because the teller required one, but the card was with Mom, in case of emergencies. Guess what became an emergency? Your sister needs better software, Mom would text. Her professor said the basic version is limiting her. 200 here, 400 there. A seminar. A mandatory international workshop that looked suspiciously like a beach resort. When Dad's hours got cut, I covered credit cards for a month, then 3, then a year. Each time I said yes. I told myself I was buying them time to breathe. Each time, Mom would sigh with practiced relief and say, you know you're doing what a good son does. It wasn't entirely one way. When I started school again, I didn't ask for help, but I sent updates. First day in a statistics class since high school. Mom sent a thumbs up. Dad wrote, don't overdo it. Tessa didn't answer. 2 days later, she posted a reel of herself in first class to Cabo, with music I recognized from one of my own ads. The pressure didn't break me in big, dramatic scenes. It arrived as little things. The constant mental math of who was late on what. The Sunday dinners where Mom would say, we don't talk about money at the table, right after asking whether I'd done the transfer. Then there were the birthdays. Tessa's 24th, a catered party, a rented neon sign. Everyone clapped when Dad brought out her surprise gift, a trip to New York for Fashion Week. I knew exactly which debit card had paid for it. Not because I watched him swipe, but because I'd cleared it with the bank days earlier when the fraud alert triggered on a purchase 3 states over. I didn't resent it at first. I told myself I was building something. That finishing my degree would unlock sanity because then I could hire properly, delegate properly, expand without duct tape. That the family would calm down when the scarcity eased. But scarcity didn't ease. Expectations did the opposite. Last winter, the family emergency fund dipped low, not empty, but low enough that I paused my deposits because tuition and payroll hit the same week. I forgot to tell Mom. My phone lit up at 6:03 a.m. Did you forget? She wrote. Forget what? Our rent. It's due today. I blinked at the screen. Your rent comes out of Dad's check. Not this month. He had that thing. It's fine. I used the card. The emergency card. Don't use that tone. Tessa chimed in from nowhere. Mal, I literally cannot think with you making money your personality. I put the phone face down and ran the numbers. The account would cover it. But the cushion would disappear. I took a deep breath. I topped it up. I told Mom it was done. She sent a heart. Then a grocery list. In March, around midterms, there was a new ask. Tessa's capstone trip. Italy. She'd never seen a real fresco and needed it for her portfolio. I didn't say no. I said, let me see the budget. She never sent it. 2 weeks later, Mom texted, we might do something special for Tessa. Don't be weird about it. I asked, what does that mean? She replied with a gif of confetti. Then came the small betrayals that aren't small at all. I found out Mom gave Tessa my emergency card, just in case. I found out Dad had told a cousin I owed the family because I don't do real work. I found out from a bank email that someone tried to change the mailing address on the emergency account to Tessa's apartment. When I called, Mom laughed. It's just easier if bills come here. Whose bills? I asked. Silence. Then, you think you're better than us now? Because you wear a robe? I didn't answer that one. I just finished my group project, drank bad coffee, and added 2-factor authentication to every account like a man putting extra locks on a door nobody admits they're walking through. The week before graduation, I asked softly if they were coming. Mom said flights were impossible. Dad said he didn't want to sit for hours. Tessa sent a sparkle emoji. I told myself I understood. I really did. I told myself it wasn't personal. And then, graduation morning. Surprise, Italy. She's the only one who makes us proud. The problem wasn't the trip. Trip's end. The problem was the sentence. It crystallized something I'd been trying not to name. In my family, I wasn't Malcolm. I was a wallet with a smile. If I said yes, they loved me. If I paused, I was selfish. If I succeeded, it didn't count. If Tessa breathed, it was gold. I wish I could say I just let it go and focused on walking the stage. I tried. But that sentence followed me like a shadow. It sat in the folding chair next to me. It clapped without looking. The ceremony was a blur of names and rattling programs. Jordan hooped like a man paid by the decibel. And while my cohort laughed, I just offered tight smiles for photos with professors who actually knew how hard I'd worked. On the lawn, my advisor said, you're one of the few who can scale without burning out. Promise me you'll hire early. I promised. I meant it. On the ride home, my phone exploded. The family chat lit up while they were between connections. Videos from a lounge in Frankfurt. Tessa, glass of Prosecco, pouting. Mom's caption, our star is international. I turned notifications off. At home, I set the cap on the desk and the robe on the back of the chair. I poured myself water because my throat felt like a dry sponge. The apartment smelled like the takeout we'd eaten 2 nights ago. I opened a window. A breeze lifted the edge of the robe, like an unfunny joke. Then, the bank app pinged. Large purchase attempt. 3,980 euros. Boutique Hotel Firenze. The emergency account. The card with Mom's name on it. The card I funded. The card I'd let exist so nobody would panic at midnight. I stared at the number. I scrolled. A taxi. A VIP airport transfer. A surprise upgrade so she can feel special. The bank had flagged none of it, because technically, we had the money. My money. My pulse steadied in a way that felt wrong. Not rage. Clarity. Like when a storm clears, and you can finally see the road you're on. I called Mom. She answered, cheerful. Graduate. Why is the emergency card paying for a boutique hotel? She didn't miss a beat. Don't be negative. It's Tessa's capstone experience. Emergency. I said, my voice flat. Not capstone. She sighed. The sigh that says, I'm the parent here. Mal, everything's an emergency when you're building a future. Money is just a tool. Whose tool? I shot back. You don't have a family of your own. You don't get it yet. Mom, I said, and heard my voice go even flatter. The account is mine. My deposits. My name. That tone again, she snapped. What do you want? Applause for buying groceries? You should be grateful you can help. You'd be nothing without us. We're the reason you work so hard. Tessa actually makes us proud. And you can't even let her have this. There it was again. Proud. Not a slip. A policy. I didn't yell. I opened my laptop, clicked through 2-factor authentication, and watched the dashboard load. Years of transfers, each with little notes. Our x-ray, dentist, tuition, utilities, rent, just until Friday. We'll pay you back. Columns of my yes stacked up like a monument I'd built with both hands while they posed in front of it. Mom kept talking. We'll settle up after the trip. Don't be petty, Mal. It's tacky. I opened the transactions and took screenshots. Not to post. To remember. To have my own reality when they told me a different story. I'm done, I said. Done with what? She laughed. Done playing victim? Grow up. Done funding you. Silence. Then a tight, little chuckle. Cute. You can't just cut your family off because you're mad for 5 minutes. It's been 5 years, I said. She went cold. If you do this, don't expect us to be there when you need us. I haven't needed you, I said. The words sounded meaner than I intended. They were also true. Okay, then, she said, brittle as glass. Enjoy your little certificate. She hung up. I stood still and waited for the aftermath in my chest. It didn't come. Just that same clarity. Bright and unkind. I pulled up the bank app again. My thumb hovered over the emergency account. Then the family chat pinged in my peripheral vision. Dad, for once. Malcolm, don't mess this up. Your sister needs this for her future. Tessa, if you start punishing Mom on my trip, I'm blocking you. Mom, then leave the card alone. Jordan peered over my shoulder. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to. I opened a new message thread with Mom, Dad, and Tessa. I attached a single PDF, a 4-page statement of the account, every deposit circled in red and labeled Malcolm in my annotation tool. Underneath, I wrote, this is not a family fund. It's mine. Going forward, you pay your own bills. The card will be disabled at midnight. I suggest you plan accordingly. The read receipt stuttered, then lined up. Mom, you're being unfair. She stopped. Deleted. Typed again. Mom, don't humiliate us. People are watching me. So, I typed back, stop making me responsible for your choices. I hit disable on the card. I swept the balance to my personal account. Not a dramatic flourish, just a boundary set with a button. The world didn't explode. The kettle didn't shriek. My apartment didn't tilt. I closed the laptop and let the quiet come back. Jordan poured more water, like we were just 2 guys on a normal afternoon. Then the phone started ringing. Dad called first, straight to voicemail. Then again. Then Mom. Then Tessa. Then Aunt Donna. Call your mother now. Then Cousin Leah. We all sacrifice for family. You're not special. I put the phone on Do Not Disturb and stood by the window, watching a kid wobble past on a scooter. At 12:07 a.m., a text from Mom slid through anyway, because she was on my favorites list. Hotel is saying the card declined. Fix this right now. 10 minutes later, we're at the desk. People are looking. Then, if Tessa has to stay in a cheaper place because you're throwing a tantrum, that will be on you forever. I didn't answer. Jordan slept on the couch because he didn't want me to wake up alone with the noise. I slept for 4 hours, like a man underwater. In the morning, my inbox was a museum of guilt. Aunties, uncles, even a neighbor I barely knew. Your mother is exhausted. Be kind. I made coffee and opened my dashboards, orders, returns, chats. Practical things. I hired a part-time support rep, giving them a congrats grad discount I made up on the spot. I posted one quiet photo, me on the lawn in my robe, no caption. I texted my advisor. Hiring started. Thank you again. She sent 3 fireworks emojis. At 10:19 a.m., Tessa finally sent her own message, separate from the group. Wow, you enjoy hurting people. It must make you feel powerful. My reply, boundaries aren't violence. Tessa, you loved paying for everything because it made you feel superior. Now that we're doing something for me, you can't stand it. Me, I paid for your rent for 2 years. Tessa, you didn't pay for me. You paid to control Mom. I stared at that for a long time. Then I wrote, find your own card. And I muted the thread. At noon, I got a call from an unknown Florentine number. The hotel manager. Polite, but firm, asking whether the card would be reinstated. I told him no, but offered to pay for a single night to give my family time to figure out their own arrangements, if they provided a separate card for the rest. He thanked me. I sent exactly 1 night's payment, emailed the receipt to Mom, and said, after this, it's yours. The group chat didn't like the word yours. The chat flooded with versions of selfish, cold, heartless. Someone said, Tessa is the only one who tried to make something beautiful out of life. I almost laughed. I closed the app instead. People imagine a grand relief after a break like this. It wasn't grand. It was practical. The background hum of dread just shut off. The list on my fridge went from 12 items to 3. Payroll. Ads. Brief. There were consequences, of course. Mom stopped calling me by my name. In texts, I became he. As in, he did this to us. Dad sent 1 long message about ingratitude, and blood, and the family name. I typed 3 drafts back and deleted all of them. I settled on, I love you. I'm not your bank. He didn't answer. Extended family split cleanly along lines I didn't expect. Aunt Donna went nuclear. Aunt Marie sent a quiet, about time. My cousin Nate, unemployed for 9 months, cornered me for a rant about capitalism and called me a landlord of the heart. I still don't know what that means. I didn't reply. Real life kept going. Orders shipped. The new support rep, Diva, took half my inbox in the first week and wrote cleaner macros than I ever did. I brought on a logistics consultant who hates inefficiency the way I hate guilt. I slept like a person who isn't waiting for their phone to ring with a crisis that is somehow always theirs to solve. 2 weeks later, Mom texted, we're home. I almost wrote, how was Florence? But the question tasted like a trap. Instead, I wrote, hope your flight was safe. She called. I let it go to voicemail. She called again. I answered. She started in hot. Do you know how humiliating it was to move hotels? You moved? Of course we moved. We're not staying in some alley place because you decided to be petty on your graduation day. I disabled a card, I said calmly. That should have never paid for a vacation. You keep saying vacation like it wasn't for your sister's education. Mom, there are student budget tools, hostels, scholarships, options. You're 30, she snapped. When I was 30, I had 2 kids and a mortgage, and no one to help me. You should be grateful you can spare it. I said. For years. She went quiet then, softer. We missed your ceremony, she said. You know, travel is hard for your dad. I waited for the rest. It didn't come. Okay, I said. You missed it. She exhaled. Tessa showed us the Duomo, she said, as if giving me the postcard would help. We ate gelato by a bridge. We thought about you. I closed my eyes. Did you? Don't be cruel, she said. I said, we thought about you. Did you think of me? I asked, when you wrote that comment. What comment? She knew. We both let the silence sit on the line until it felt heavy. In July, something small happened that would have swallowed me a year ago. Tessa texted a photo of an invoice. Can you cover this? I start my internship next week and they don't pay until August. I typed no. She wrote back. You'll regret this when you need me. I sat with that for a minute and realized I didn't know what she meant. Need her for what? A photo with gelato? In August, my dad's car gave out. He didn't call. Mom didn't text. Aunt Marie did. Your father's on the bus for the first time in 20 years. He looks lost. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I saw. I breathed. I called Dad. I can help you build a budget for a used car, I said. I can send links. I won't buy it. He grunted. Send links, he said. It sounded like surrender. It sounded like honesty. I sent links. A week later, he texted a photo of a dented Toyota. Got it. Underneath, for the first time in months. Thanks. Not for money. For the links. Some days were ugly. Mom sent me a list of everything we did for you that included, bought you a winter coat when I was 12. I almost sent back a spreadsheet of everything I'd done for them, with totals, interest, and screenshots. I didn't. Boundaries aren't invoices. Other days surprised me. Aunt Marie invited me to dinner with no agenda and asked me about my hiring plan. I told her I wanted to train managers before the holiday rush so I wouldn't become the kind of owner who screams. She nodded and brought out pie like that was the most normal sentence I could say. Work grew calmly. Not meteors, just steady lines up and to the right. I opened a small studio space so my apartment could stop smelling like cardboard. I hired 2 part-time packers, college kids who care more about schedule drops than family drama. They call me Mal and ask good questions and don't flinch when I say, no rush, just right. Sometimes I miss them. Not the demands. The idea of them. The fantasy version where a mom posts proud of my son under a blurry photo of a cap. I grieved that like a real thing, because it is a thing I didn't get. Then September came, and Tessa posted her internship announcement with a caption about being self-made. I almost commented. I didn't. I made dinner. I watered the plant. I texted Jordan a photo of the plant and said, still alive. He replied with a trophy emoji. A week later, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. Hi, a careful voice said. I'm Claire. I'm Tessa's friend. We met once at that messy barbecue. I didn't remember her. She took a breath. I just wanted you to know. Tessa tells people you're controlling. I've seen the receipts. You're not crazy. She just needs a story where she's the hero. I said, thank you. I didn't need the validation, but I took it like a glass of water anyway. The first quiet Sunday came in October. No calls, no demands. Just lights spilling across my messy apartment. I made eggs, read a case study, and realized I finally liked the silence. Jordan stopped by with coffee. We talked about work, not family. It felt normal. Later, I walked with my phone on airplane mode and thought about that sentence. She's the only one who makes us proud. They were proud of what I gave, not who I was. I couldn't fix that for them. I could fix it for me. A week later, Mom called. Sunday dinner, she said. Come if you want. I did. I brought a store-bought pie. Dad was quiet. Tessa wasn't there. Mom placed dishes like she was setting down an apology. I shouldn't have written that, she said quietly. It was honest, I replied. She nodded. We got used to you fixing everything. It was easier to be proud of Tessa. I needed it too, I said. Before I left, she handed me a photo. Me at 6, holding a paper volcano. On the back, in her handwriting, you've always made me proud. I just didn't say it right. It wasn't enough, not entirely, but it was real. Back home, I set the photo on my desk. The printer hummed. The calendar was quiet. My rules stayed simple. 1, my accounts are mine. 2, emergencies are rare. 3, love needs no receipt. I don't fund disrespect. I don't confuse access with love. I don't let family be a subscription. On graduation day, they gave their pride to someone else. I took my name back. Not revenge. Just